So not too long ago, I've done a feature overview of the Helios 300 2020. It was an engineering sample, so I couldn't really talk about performance or the beefy stuff people usually want to know, but I finally have a retail unit in the studio. So I just want to quickly catch people up and then talk about what really matters. Design-wise, it's pretty much the exact same laptop. They got rid of the Acer Helios 300 writing. They added these silver fins on the back of the laptop, and they placed the barrel connection on the back, moving it from the side. This is preferred. Having the cable connect from the back of the laptop keeps your desk cleaner. If you're using a mouse on the left or right-hand side of your laptop, the barrel connector will not get in the way. Internally, there are some differences in terms of motherboard layout because this is using the 10th gen Intel processor. So you'll see that some of the SSDs got placed a little bit higher and stacked together to give it more of a neat and tidy look. The big takeaway though of the internals is the fans. Like last year's 2019 Helios had one metal fan and one plastic fan on the right. This year, both fans are metal. The NVMe SSD inside of here is really fast. You have 2 extra storage slots if you want to upgrade. You also have terrible battery life. Some of the worst battery life I've tested this year, right on par with the HP Omen 15. I was barely able to break 3 hours of use doing general productivity. Now the Helios 300 has a new 240 Hertz display option. And I think this is great if you could push frames that get 240 FPS. If you're playing older titles like CSGO or even newer titles like Valorant, it shouldn't be that difficult. But if you're playing more demanding titles, I think you're fine with the 144 Hertz display, which is the one that this unit has. It too has good color accuracy and gamut, just like the 240 Hertz model. Now I did have one issue with the retail sample. The keyboard has been the same for the past few years, so there's no design differences here, but I found this keyboard not to be sensitive enough. Like you'd press on the keys, and unless you pressed all the way down really hard, the keys would sometimes not registered. I tested this out on the engineering sample. Everything was fine, so I think it's just this specific unit. Performance on this is incredible. Like I have the i7 10th gen model paired with an RTX 2060 and 16 gigabytes of RAM, but this is the fastest RTX 2060 I've tested in a laptop this year so far. So if you're like trying to squeeze performance because your budget's in the mid-range sector, this is probably the laptop you should be looking at. Acer has just done a fantastic job with thermals. Like even under the extreme profile with the GPU being overclocked, yes, the fans are getting loud, closer to 60 decibels, but this thing does not overheat. The TDP is a bit lower compared to, let's say, the HP Omen 15, but it's still able to surpass it in terms of performance. And that means thermally, it's doing its job. Now, if you're not a fan of loud fans, closer to 60 decibels, you can put this on its normal mode and the fans will drop closer to 40, but you'll lose some of those higher clock speeds on the CPU. Look, at the end of the day, Acer is sticking to what works. A design that hasn't failed them, a design that offers good value to performance, and they also made a few updates to improve the overall quality of the laptop. Power port on the back, slightly better thermals, really good performance. Yes, I would have loved better battery life. I would have loved an updated keyboard and a more minimalistic design. But at the end of the day, this laptop is usually slightly less than the competitors. And Acer has been known to drop the price on this thing during Black Friday, back to school, and during the holiday. And if you can snag one of these for a great price, you'll have a good experience. So that wraps up this review. If you're interested in checking this laptop out, I'll place a link in the description down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.